Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome to Let's Get Local with the Turner Real Estate Network. So what we do is every week we bring on a few local guests, business owners that we support and we trust. And so this kind of makes a good trusted pool and spa. We have Chris here today. Hey, Chris, welcome to the show.
Hey, good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so we wanted to bring Chris on because, thanks to COVID and everybody staying in and being piled up on top of each other, more and more people either want a pool or they want to remodel their pool. And Chris, your business has really taken off during this time. I know if you guys are watching now and you want to have a look at his website while we're on here and you have any questions, you can take a look on there. You can see you're backed up a little bit because you're so good and business has been good. But what I really wanted to have you on for is I know we had talked about what are the top 5 things that a homeowner should look and ask their pool contractor when they're interviewing for these jobs, if they're remodeling or building a brand new pool.
So yeah, that's a great topic. And number one, you want to make sure that your contractor that you're interviewing is going to be licensed and then carry the correct amount of insurance. It's extremely important. If something were to happen on your job or your job site or to someone who is working on your job site and you don't have a license and you're not insured, that's going to fall back on the homeowner. So that's something you
Oh,
want to be extremely aware of.
wow. Okay, that's good. Yeah, I don't even think I even thought anything through that far for that. Okay, yeah, that's good. And as far as like the contractor, is that like a general contractor or what's the licensing like for that? What's it called?
So for pool contractor, it's a specialty license.
Okay.
It's a state certified license. It's basically covers every aspect of any sort of pool construction, pool renovation, pool maintenance, anything pool related on your property, and it tends to cover all of our in-house employees. Now we
Okay.
do have subcontractors as well, and that's something else that is important for the homeowners to research is to make sure that any subcontractors that will be working on your property have their own insurances and their own either workers' comp or their own workers' comp exemption. Because what happens or what could happen, I mean, worst case scenario, if something did happen or occur to one of the subs, obviously they should have their own insurance that will take care of it, or if there was any damage to your property. And then it would go to the licensed pool contractor. But again, if neither one has any of this, it goes directly back to the homeowner.
Oh, wow. So yeah, that's got to be a question number one. So, and I'm guessing there's probably a website or something. So later on in the cast, we'll put a link in this live cast where people can go to search and look up that license because I'm sure there's a place we can do that. So I'll get that from you after the cast, Chris.
Absolutely.
Okay. And what's number 2? What's the second thing they should look out for?
So number 2, when you're meeting with your contractor, your pool contractor, since we're kind of focused on that, I would suggest asking about their warranties. Like what do you warranty, not just on one individual component, but the overall project. In pool construction, you're going to have, many different aspects. You're going to have structural components like your pool shell. Then you're also going to have your decking, whether that's concrete or pavers or travertine, whatever you choose. Each one of those carries its own very unique, properties and installation. So you want to make sure that you're aware of every aspect and get very clear, detailed warranty information on every aspect, not only the materials, but also how it's applied. Is there a workmanship warranty? Because that's just as important. We may have a really good product that we're using, and if it wasn't installed properly, that's going to fall back under that workmanship warranty. So that's extremely important as well. And then with your pool equipment, generally you're going to have a 3-year blanket warranty from the manufacturer. So I really like that a lot. We use Hayward equipment. We're extremely happy with it. We have been for years, and one of the main reasons why we're so happy with it is the warranty that they give and the response time. That's also something that I'd like to suggest that you do your research on, because say you have this warranty and it's guaranteed, but how long does it take them to get there and actually fix this problem?
Right. Yeah, because and then some companies are just like coming and going too. So it's also important that you're working with a company that's got some staying power too, and that you can get a hold of. I know that's been something that's really been crazy, even for our business too. I've had a couple of our clients that had a washer or a dryer that went out, and then they try to go to Lowe's and it just like on back order, they can't even get it. So they're like hanging their clothes out to dry, and just, a lot of weird stuff has happened during this time. So I think this direction that we're taking with this conversation is really important. We'll get to the fun stuff at the end, but this is really critical in the beginning, just to protect, your assets that you're building out there.
Absolutely. You're spending a lot of money on it. It's a very expensive purchase, so it's important you do all your research.
Yeah. Okay, so that's 1 and 2, but what about number 3?
So number 3 is, well, I'm going to kind of go in line with the whole. So next would be like, say you sign up with a contractor. What is your timeline? You want to have very clear timelines established in the beginning of the process, because things always happen during construction. There's always delays, whether it's material or,
Rain.
rain. Exactly.
Yep.
Rain. Yeah. This time of year, nonstop. So you always want to make sure that those are accounted for in the timeline. And we really try to do that to the best we can. Now, one thing that I've noticed recently that we really were not expecting and did not necessarily plan for was delays in manufacturing due to COVID. And so currently there was a shortage on lights, but now we're having issues getting certain products. That is one of those unforeseen things. So we're kind of adjusting now. But yeah, you want to make sure you have a clear timeline. So like you're going to start, how long is the permit process? How long from when the permit is issued will you begin? Or if you're doing a remodel, how long from when I order the material will it be available and can we start? And then from that point, how long is it going to take to completion? We try to over communicate the best we can. Generally, I give you like a rough timeline. And then as things, every week or 10 days, I try to follow up and kind of tighten that up so you're aware of when people are going to be coming and going, because it's important not only for, do you want to know when you're going to be swimming or be able to use your pool, you also want to know when people are going to be on your property.
Right. Yeah, no, that's so true. Yeah, no, I love that. I think, you said establishing expectations. How long is it going to take? What's the process? How many different like inspections have to be done during that time? One of the things we've run into before too, because I know we've referred quite a bit of business to you, but it's sometimes you need to let your next door neighbor know what's happening.
Yes.
That there's going to be a dirt mover coming in between your property. And I think a couple of times this has actually gone in your favor where you get 2 homeowners building a pool side by side, which is also really great because they're like, hey, that's a great idea. And so sometimes it can work out good. Also, Chris, I think we need to speak to, for those that are in gated communities, they have homeowners associations. They have to get everything approved through the, type of pool that you're going to put, make sure it's fitting on the back of the property. Mm-hmm. So those are some additional steps too, that I think as far as the timeline, and sometimes they can hold things up too. I know there's like a architectural committee that you have to go through. So there's so many things. It's dreaming up the pool and all the fun stuff is good, but these are, really important pieces of the project too.
Yeah, I couldn't have said that any better. You're absolutely right. The fun part is getting the concept, putting it together, meeting with people, and making that part come to life. But you're right. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes to ensure that the timeline and everything's done correctly.
Yeah. All right. So we got a good base here. So what's the 4th question that homeowners should be asking their pool contractor?
So basically, you kind of hinted to this earlier. Is there's a lot of companies that are around, and the majority of them are good. The majority of companies have, they have families, they're here, they want to make a living, they want to do a good job for you. That's how we feel. We want to do a good job because you're our best advertising. But you want to make sure that whoever you hire is qualified, has good references, and has some longevity, because, I mean, we all started at some point and we're the
Yeah.
new guy.
Right.
But you really want to do your homework and make sure that they have experience and qualifications, because it's a big undertaking and you want to make sure that your pool contractor is going to have the answers if a situation comes up. You always have an extremely well thought out plan, and everything's done to code and follows the construction plan as far as building the job. But you never know, you might come into something that was unexpected, and you want to make sure that you have the answer and it's handled quickly, properly, and effectively.
Yeah, no, that's true. Well, and especially, because again, if this is somebody that's new coming to our area, that's moving from another state, in Florida, we have so many different types of soil, and most of them aren't very good. So there's, issues with different types of soil and shale and rocks, and or if somebody's building a pool on a waterfront home, you've got seawall issues. And I mean, there's really so much that goes into this. It is, like you said, it's not something that somebody should, if they're, trying to go for the cheapest, newest guy just to get it done, it could end up costing you a lot of money in the long run.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, it kind of just goes back to that whole thing where do your homework. There's plenty of resources nowadays where we have the ability to, check on your history and your work, and then I highly recommend doing it.
Oh yeah, look at your recommendations and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's great stuff. Okay, so I guess we're up to number 5 already. Time flying.
Yeah. So the fifth thing I would like to speak about is the materials that are being used and the way they are being installed. So this kind of following up on a little bit of our conversation earlier. There's a lot of ways to install material. You always want to make sure that it's done correctly. A big thing that I'll actually kind of pinpoint is tile. Glass tile is all the rave right now. It's very popular and it's very beautiful. It comes in a ton of different colors and shapes and sizes. You have to use a certain, it's not even thin set, it's called a multiflex. And you have to use the correct material to set it. Because if not, it's going to cause significant trouble, maybe 1 or 2 years down the road. And that kind of goes along the entire process. That's just one that I've noticed a lot. We've been to some jobs recently where we've helped people fix this problem because they didn't use the right material. But the same can be said for, anything you're using out there. Concrete. If you don't have, fiber mesh in your concrete, you're going to have issues. It's just a lot of little bits of information that you want to make sure that you're aware of what's being used and how it's being applied, because it might look fantastic for 1 or 2 years, even 3 or 4. But this is something, it's a lot of money you're investing, and you want it to last like a lifetime. Yes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, that's all really good stuff. I feel like we talked about some serious stuff, but I know there's some fun stuff. I know, like I said, we've referred quite a bit of business to you, and everybody's been really happy. One of the couples we had a little French bulldog, and you made a little kind of side yard. I know a lot of people that move here from up north, if they're moving on to a lakefront home or something, or even preserve, they're worried about critters coming in, or they don't want their little dogs to go out in the yard and stuff. So this is like a really safe way for them to go do their business, right in the privacy of their own lanai. And talk a little bit about some of the fun features like that one specifically, and some of the lighting and stuff.
Absolutely. That's that was a job where we actually put like a little turf area for their little French bulldog. Again, because they lived on a lake and they didn't want the dog going outside, because obviously in Florida, in every lake, there's probably an alligator.
Yep.
And we've actually done quite a bit of that as of late. It's becoming very popular for that reason. Yeah. So we love it. We love doing different stuff. Lighting is very popular right now as well. The LED lights have really come a long way, and we can do a lot with them. So I would suggest asking about that when you meet with your contractor.
Yeah, that's really cool. I know I've seen some of those too. That is really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the other thing I'd like to say too is our pool is serviced by your company. And for the last 4 years, everybody listening, we have had the same pool cleaner come for us, Greg, and he's amazing. And so I think that kind of speaks to not only the quality of the pools that you're building, but how you treat your staff. And people just don't stay places that they're not treated well. So I know, you're taking good care of your staff. You're taking great care of my customers. And I appreciate that. And so I just hope that everybody's watching. If you have, any questions, Chris's information is here below. Having a pool in Florida is a great thing, but you want to make sure that you ask those 5 questions and that you get the right person for the job. And in my opinion, that's Chris. So thanks for being on our show today, and have a great weekend, everybody. And we'll see you again next week.
Thank you very much.